Nobody tells you this when you start putting yourself out there. Whether you're trying to get into acting, start a music career, grow a social media page, this all applies to you. It's not about being the best. It's about making people feel something. This week, I learned that I was funny, but only to myself. I did a whole 5-minute bit about umpiring, and I could feel it. The audience wasn't connecting. I realized if I wanted to grow, I can't just be clever. I have to be relatable. Because the truth is, people don't remember the perfect art. They remember what makes them feel seen. So if you want to stand out, don't try to impress. Connect. So I came to the hard truth that maybe 5 minutes on umpiring isn't relatable enough. Or maybe I'm just not funny yet. So let's go ahead and talk about week 9 in my journey to become a stand-up comedian in just 1 year. So this week, I went to 2 open mics. One at a Chinese restaurant. The Chinese restaurant was weird. Apparently, there was some miscommunication that there was not going to be a show, and so the audience was very small. Made for a rough set. Generally speaking, with a small audience, you can still get responses.
I grew out my beard. I lowered my voice a little bit. I did steroids, all the things you need to do.
It's just a lot different than having a crowd, having a full room, which I think stand-up is ideal for. And it wasn't just me, the other comics didn't do great either. And also, I have a quick story to tell you guys about this. We literally bombed so bad that this happened. At the very end of the mic, the MC got up and was talking about how, we'd be back next week at the same time. And the restaurant owner came out from the back, and he started raising his voice at the host that, no, there's not going to be another mic next week. It's canceled. He basically did that in front of the entire audience. Awkward. The truth is, I think this was going to happen anyway, but nonetheless, it still made for a really awkward moment and memorable story. Guys, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I literally canceled the whole mic. On Friday, I did the same bit that I did the previous week about how before I became a psychologist, I worked with at-risk youth. I just made a few tweaks to it. And this one I think went a little bit better.
If you don't know, at-risk youth are teenagers who punch you in the face.
Probably because I had spent more time working on the material, and I think it's a little bit more relatable than my umpire bit, because at least has to do with working with troubled kids. And even if you haven't worked with troubled kids, you know how much trouble kids can be. Here's an example of a joke that worked this week.
Crowds were so hard, man. The crowds, I could handle 1 or 2 angry parents yelling, but when you have a whole stadium screaming at you to get your eyes checked, you'll get a prescription. Xanax. That was mine.
And here's an example of a joke that didn't work.
Trauma, abuse, anger issues. That was a typical profile after 1 day on the job. Grand count.
So what was the highlight of the week? Honestly, I think the highlight was connecting with Chris, the guy I mentioned earlier. After the mic, we went and grabbed a beer and just talked about comedy and got to know each other a little bit more. And that's steadily becoming one of my favorite parts of the comedy journey, is just connecting with community. The low light of the week, probably just bombing at the Chinese restaurant. And again, it wasn't even that bad. It's just, it never feels good to put all this time into a set and then to go up and not get the reaction you were looking for, but it was still good experience getting up there, feeling vulnerable, and getting that stage time. So that's gonna do it for week 9 in my journey to become a stand-up comedian in just 1 year. Hey, if you're also pursuing a dream, you like stand-up comedy, or you just want to see me bomb, you sick freak, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. Toodles!